really good exit out of turn 1, which sets me up for the inside.
Oh my god, let's go, dude! This is
I'm able to pass him on the inside, and then now what ends up happening is Buddy shows right back up and takes the inside of me on 3.
Yo, you guys are actually racing right now. This is crazy intense.
What are we watching right now, Mark? What is this?
Okay, so this is the 4th race weekend in the CASC Pirelli GT3 challenge. Pretty much like halfway through the series, and I was coming into this in 3rd place. Now, this is at Calabogie. So we race at 3 different tracks over 6 weekends. So 4 of the races are at the Toronto track, and then 2 of the races are one's at Shannonville, and then one is at Calabogie. This is the track that I started practicing on last year.
Home track, baby.
This is the home track, absolutely. And for me, it meant a lot because not only do I know this track the best out of all the tracks that we've been doing, this is where it began. This is where it all started. And if I was going to make up any points, this is where it needed to happen. So this is a big weekend for sure.
All right. So we're going to be watching this race. And which race is this one? There's 3 this weekend.
This is the 2nd race. So we did 3 in the weekend. Race. So this is Sunday morning when they were calling for rain. But when we went out, it was bone dry. So we're on the slicks.
All right, let's give it a watch. I'm so excited. I unfortunately wasn't able to actually be here on the track. Typically, I'm on the track for most of the races. But I had another thing I had to get to, so I wasn't able to see it. And I'm going to have actually a live reaction right here for the first time to see exactly what happened. I'm super pumped. What position did you qualify in?
I'm in 2nd position. I started in 2nd position. So I qualified in 1st, but for this race, I'm starting in 2nd.
Oh, shit. That's kind of like your favorite spot. You like 2nd or like 4th. You're kind of like, you want to take something over. You don't like starting in the front.
Yeah, it's kind of started to change. Like in the early days, for me, there's a lot of pressure being in front, right? And me just being my first year getting into this, being chased isn't a good feeling. For me, I haven't gotten used to kind of blocking out what's going on behind me and just focusing on running my line. These guys are always in your mirrors, right? So you're always looking around to see, are they coming inside? Are they going outside? Are they catching up? So I like starting in like the 2nd line or the 3rd line because then I will be able to start chasing rather than being chased. But
it's like, I like to be a predator, not the prey. But when you start first, everyone's got their eyes on you.
That's the thing coming into it. So that's how I felt in the first couple of races. But now that I've been getting more comfortable, I'm kind of starting to flip it around like most racers would. Like when you look at the statistics of people that start on pole, which means starting in 1st place and finishing 1st place, it's the biggest advantage you're going to get. And now I'm starting to feel it because now I'm starting to get more comfortable with having people behind me. Now I'm starting to be more comfortable with, okay, understanding that if you're in traffic, you're battling. So you're running slow laps. So if you're in 1st place and 2nd and 3rd place are behind you fighting it out, you now are getting a further and further head start. And if you're in 4th place where I'm like, I like to go chasing, I've started realizing that typically you start getting held up in battles the whole way through. And because we only do 20-minute races, there isn't a lot of time to, get caught up. You got to really just go after it. So now I'm starting to get, okay, I do want to get a good start. I do want to start being in front. I do want to take advantage of that.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, talk to me about this weaving in the beginning of races. I see racers do this all the time. What is happening here?
Yeah, so the weaving's to warm up the tires. So pretty much these tires, so they call them slicks, and that confuses a lot of people because people always look at them and they're like, there's no grip on these tires. The thing is, it's not the actual grooves or anything that provide you grip on racing tires. It's the compound, it's the material itself. The material is actually sticky. It sticks to the track, and the difference is night and day. Like there's no comparison between street tires on the track and slicks. And the thing about slicks though is they only work at temperature. So when you go out for your first lap, you're typically weaving to get that temperature of your tires up, and you're doing weaving and hard braking because when you brake, your brakes obviously generate a shit ton of heat. So what's happening is the weaving is putting pressure and working energy into the tires, so they're starting to get more tacky. And then when you're braking aggressively, it's warming them up as well. So that's what's happening.
That's so odd. Like, you warm up for the race mentally and physically, like in your person, and then you're your actual car needs to be warmed up too. It's like, oh, let me limber up a little bit for this thing we're about to do. It's so interesting.
I know, and I still don't even fully understand all of it. Like because then you get to a situation where your car can overheat, right? Like I'm always wondering, I would rather my car be warm and ready to go, but you can overheat your car. So here's actually what's happening. So real quick, right now, we do our out lap, and if you pause it for a second, you'll see the first car in front is actually a Porsche Macan.
The white car, right?
Car. Yeah, that's the safety car, so it's not racing. But what it does is when we start the race, that safety car goes out, and then we all follow it in single file, okay? And then halfway through the lap, right when, or maybe a little bit, maybe like 3/4 of the way through the lap, when you get close to starting the race, you bunch up 2 by 2. And that's what you're gonna start seeing happening here. So you can hit play now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we start our races, they're called rolling starts. So we don't do a standing start, we do a rolling start. We pretty much just bunch up 2 by 2.
Most races start with a rolling start, right? They kind of go one lap around and then they go.
Yeah, I think like obviously F1's the most popular motorsport out there, and they do a standing start, so most people are used to that. But a lot of sport car racing is a rolling start. Like the Ferrari Challenge is a rolling start. The IMSA races are rolling starts. FEL is a rolling start. So for the most part, you're doing rolling starts. But if you want to pause it here for a second. So this whole situation is super messed up. So I've been known for having bad starts for one of two reasons. Number one, when I first started doing this, I was always shitting my pants because I'm like, holy shit. Like, first of all, it's not even just being, nervous in the car. It's the sound. It's the noise.
Like, I can't even imagine, bro. You have crazy. Like fucking 8 cars surrounding you, and it's not just yours that's going. It's like all of them, and it's this roar that's just following you. Like, what? No, dude, man. Screw that. Crazy.
And of course, once again, I have a relatively lower horsepower car out there, so I'm usually getting blown by on the starts anyway, whether it's trucks or something going by me and it's just blowing my ears off. That was terrifying in the first race. Now I've grown to love it, but that was definitely a reason why I was always nervous on my starts. And also, I just didn't want to wreck. Like, I don't know. I just want to survive my start, because you have this idea of what a start is going to be like, and it's chaotic and it's crazy. But I did actually get past that by the second race weekend. So I had the situation, right, where I'm like, okay, I kind of want to start a little further back just to build up my confidence, and I'm nervous about starts. So it really, those two things combined made it so that I always had really bad starts. Now, however, once again, now that my mind has been shifting a little bit more towards, okay, I see the advantage, obviously, of being on pole and being in front, and I want to get ahead and get away. Yeah. Now I've been working on my starts. So I feel like I've gotten okay and getting a pretty good jump on starts. But here, there's a weird thing going on. So these cars are all supposed to be bunched up 2 by 2. That blue car is supposed to be in front of me beside the white truck.
Got it. So there's already something messed up.
Something weird going on. And for whatever reason, he didn't go beside him. He was staying behind. Now, I don't know what to do in that situation. I have no idea what's going on. Like, do I fill that spot? I guess I could, but then I'm worried, am I going to get flagged for passing before the race started? Like, what do I do? So honestly, I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going to play it safe and go, which
that's a good thing to point out. Like, what is the rule on that? Did you ask anybody?
No, like it's such like a ambiguous thing. Like, it's just like what like the guy didn't fill the position. Am I allowed to make a start? It's like, I don't know. I was just like, whatever. Like, I'll just make it. Like, let's just keep going. Yeah.
I mean, hey, there's a hole to fill.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, like, what do I do in that scenario? So, all right. So, by the way, this car, this blue Volkswagen, rumor has it has a 400 horsepower Corvette engine. So it's quick.
That seems like an interesting little car to modify with that engine.
Yeah, like that's race car.
It's probably zippy though. Like that thing goes. Wow, those cars are getting real nice and close next to each other.
Oh yeah. So
I can imagine.
So I'm the only person right now. So this is multi-class racing. So what that means is that there are actually 5 different classes of car,
which is already
on
insane.
The track right now.
It's insane.
Yeah. So 5 different classes of car out there right now, and I'm in GT3. So it goes GT1, GT2, GT3, GT4, GT5. and it's pretty much based on your car and your skill level, and they measure that by something called breakout times. So if you fall within a certain time, then you're in a certain class, and you are accumulating points throughout the championship based on your class.
That guy just snuck around you. What the hell? Was he driving on grass?
That was a hell of a move. Go back to that because that was sick. Honestly, I give the guy all the props in the world. So he's a GT2 car. I'm a GT3 car, so I'm not even racing that guy. That guy's in a whole different tier than I am.
What the fuck
for whatever reason,
happened?
yeah, for whatever reason, he obviously something happened in the previous race, so he was starting further back. But that car is way faster than mine, and obviously he doesn't give two shits about my GT3 car. He's not racing me. He's like, screw it, I'm going right by this guy. So yeah, this is sick. Like, there's not a lot of space there, and this guy just blows right by.
He was on the grass for a minute, right?
Yeah, hell yeah, it's a hell of a move. So anyway, yeah, so I'm only racing the GT3 cars out there, and there's in this race actually there was 6, I believe. Now I'm in second position right now in GT3, and that blue car is the other GT3 car I'm trying to race, who's currently in first place. The issue, and then in the meantime, I've also got in my mirrors, which you actually have some cool footage of. In my mirrors behind me, I've got 3rd and 4th place in GT3, like riding my ass. It's a Mustang and a BMW, and they are pushing and pushing and pushing and hunting this whole time. So I got a bit of an issue here. I've got 2 GT2 cars in front of me, this truck and this BMW, that are clearly faster vehicles in front of me, and I have to somehow get past these guys before I can even try to start battling the guy in first place for GT3.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Like, this is such a crazy start to a race. Literally, since you guys started, this race has been extremely intense. And I have so many questions. That white car, like, kicked up dirt at you. There's just, like, all this stuff happening. This guy's smoking up front. Like, wow.
That's one thing I started noticing about this blue Volkswagen. So, like, definitely lots of opportunities. Like, he's got me on the horsepower, but in the corners, I noticed, like, a lot of areas where some corners are being overshot, or there's some braking issues. So I'm like, okay, if I can just get close enough to this guy in the corners, I think I'm gonna be able to make a move. But once again, the issue is, how am I gonna get past these 2 GT2 cars to even get close enough to him to make a move? So in
tell
addition
me about
to
that, what are some things that you're noticing? Because this is more of a technical thing that you're noticing, right? Maybe some, like, nothing that I would ever notice. I'd just be like trying to go fast and not die. That's kind of what my brain would be telling me. Yeah, well, what I need to be doing is focus on running my own race, which is the hardest part of all this. Like, if you look down, like, my personal best time is 2:19, and that's real quick, that's a GT1 car. So those are like, yeah, that guy just blew by you. That's a Trans Am car, GT1. So that car is like 15 seconds faster than my car out there. So he would have started at the back, and he's just going to carve his way through the field. Right. Wow, look at that. GT1 guys. That is absurd. It looks like a different. It's literally a different car. Like that. A whole different. You guys look like you're like driving 50 kilometers per hour on the street, and that guy's like speeding by. Totally. So pretty much, like, what's happening here is that, like, I need to start putting down cleaner laps, okay? Because my best time is a 2:19, and I'm right now doing, 2:25s, okay? So I'm not being at my best right now, and I need to be doing better to just make up time to get closer to this blue car. However, what's happening is that I've got 2 guys on my ass putting pressure on me. So obviously, when I'm chasing this blue car and trying to defend against these guys behind me, that's going to affect my lap time. So I'm not able to put down the times I need to do, but I just need to get better at that. That's the thing, right? So regardless, if there are people behind you, if they're not making a move on you immediately, you can't be focusing on it. You got to be running your line and doing better times. And that's what I got to get better at is now, if you're running your line, does it matter what they're doing behind you? Of course. Yeah, of course. Because running your line, like, look, there's a racing line, and there's a driving line. Like, there's a line, the best way to run the track, but that is definitely not the racing line. Okay. So if I'm doing a normal line, I'm typically leaving a lot of doors open for someone to make a move, usually on the inside. So if I'm defending, I'm usually going to defend the inside. So I'm gonna drift more to the inside to make sure that they can't get the inside and push me out. But by doing that, I'm usually slowing down my lap times. So the idea would be that only defend
when they're trying to make a move. Don't just always be defensive. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that you got to work on.
That makes sense. You also just shaved 3 seconds off your lap time, so we can like see that you're catching up here.
For sure, yeah. Like, you know, sometimes you're gonna get clean laps, sometimes you won't. I think this is where the Mustang's trying to make a move.
Oh yeah, look at this. Creeping up here.
Guy. Yeah, so this guy has been on my ass the whole time, and he gets me on the back straight. But luckily, in the turn, I have the inside. I have the advantage, so I'm able to command my inside. I'm not gonna let him have that spot. So I'm gonna make that as tight as possible, and then I was able to hold him off there. So if you look at here too, on the straight. Usually I want to be as far as I can to the right, but because this guy is behind me trying to get the inside,
you're defending.
I got to be more mid-track.
That makes sense.
So, yeah.
And that makes sense because, okay, so if you're making a turn, if you're on the inside of the turn, you're crossing less distance, so that means that you're going to have the advantage, right?
No, like really what's happening is you actually want to widen your apex. You want to make it so that, because then you can carry more speed through it. The tighter you are, the more you have to slow down. That's the idea.
Okay.
The only benefit of being inside is that when you're both going into the corner, you're able to push them out a little bit. You're able to have that inside. They can't turn, you know what I mean? Like, you're able to have that inside line, but that causes tons of issues. They could get a better jump. They could get a better exit than you, and then you're in trouble either way. So it's a game of cat and mouse. That's literally all it is. Like, it's a huge game of cat and mouse. So here we go. Here's another GT2 car that just passed me. So now I'm back in the situation again where I've got 2 GT2 cars in front of me that I need to somehow get by to get this blue car. So I'm in a position now where I'm looking at this like, this is going to be it's going to be tough to get first place in this race. I need to make sure to focus on defending these guys behind me. Like, that's where my focus is more on defense, and my focus is a lot more on, okay, keep your times up so that you can make sure that these guys don't make somehow catch up to you. So
you're also lucky that this white car is fast, man. He's just not playing around. He's caught up to this pickup truck, and he's like, man, I'm getting around this thing. I feel like sometimes you can notice when people are doing something with intention, and this guy, I feel like he's driving with a purpose. He passed you, and now he's like doing everything in his power. It's like very aggressive. You know when you see a driver like in highway traffic, and they just want to like get from lane to lane? He's driving just like that. I don't know. I see it. This is crazy to watch.
It's nuts. Yeah, we'll do at some point. We'll do the next one where we have it in the rain, and that's a hell of an experience.
Yeah, that I can't even imagine. I need to race. I need to get on the track. That's one thing I was thinking on my drive home from. I would love that. Yeah, you in the past. We should just do that. That's such a content piece. Like Stev's first day on the track, and like me going through that too. Yeah, for sure.
So here, what's going on here?
There's no way that you can pass this guy, right?
Well, yeah, there's if I can get my lap times down, like once again, like I'm 5/10 of a second off my best time. Like I'm just not running good laps. But once again, I'm being attacked this whole time. So for me, it's become a lot less about trying to catch up to these guys and a lot more about defending. But as racing will have it, this happens. So there's a spin in one of the pretty notorious corners, and what that does is it pulls out a yellow. So
it's about to come up, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, so luckily no damage to the car, but what that ends up doing is now we have a yellow flag situation. So this is like literally the worst possible case scenario for me. So
what's a yellow flag situation?
So what a yellow flag is now, because there's an incident on the track, they put out a yellow flag, which means no passing, and you have to slow down.
Shit.
And what they'll do is they'll send out a safety car to pick up the leader, and then the person in first place cannot pass the safety car, and no cars can pass each other. So you're all just going at the safety car's pace until they clean up the incident. So this
and there's no time added to the race or anything like that, right? See, now hold up, motorsports, okay? Every other sport game, whatever out there, you have some penalty, you have some whatever. The time doesn't just run. You pause the timer. What is that all about?
Yeah, I throw everything into motorsport into a money category. Like, I think it's a dollar thing. You know what I mean? Like, they have a specific amount of track time. They got to get a specific amount of races. It costs them X amount to be on track. And they're like, look, we got this much time. We don't give a shit. But it's crazy when you realize that they finish races under yellow sometimes. So if there's a big
that's
incident,
wild.
I know,
That's
it's
all I was
crazy.
thinking. Like, that's just, it seems unfair. It should be like other sports where the time is paused. Everyone is going round and around. You eat your chips. It's like kind of a hurrah moment. Everyone can take a breath, and then it's like, okay, the race is up again. And then you give, like, in my world, in line of thinking, everything is content. Okay, you live your life, you're seeing content through your eyes. The people who are at the event, they're gonna want the race to last longer. It doesn't hurt anything. If you have to take an extra 2-3 minutes to clean up a mess or make sure everything's safe or okay, that's just 2 or 3
yeah,
minutes
but it
of
takes like
intermission
it
time.
takes a lot longer than that. So that's the thing, right? So it takes them a while to clean the stuff up.
I
think one of the
I think
things-
it's kind of weird. Like, you take the race away from the racers, and I don't know, it's weird.
I think one of the things that I've
Finish a
noticed
race on yellow, that's crazy.
in motorsport across the board is that, like, they give zero shits about unexpected situations. Like, the idea is just that, like, you're out there and you're racing and you have no idea what's going to happen, and you just got to deal with the things that come up, because the rules, even the rules, like, the rules need to be like reviewed almost like every race, because there's some random incident that nobody could really forecast or foresee that they got to go check and figure out and do this and do that. So I think the whole idea from like a racer's mentality is that, like, just show up, get in the driver's seat, and do what you can, when you can, how you can, because there's nothing you can control. So long story short, though, this is a big issue for me, because now I'm in a situation where when the race starts again, I'm not even racing against the guys in my class. I'm racing against 2 guys right now that are in a different class than me.
Yeah.
And they're blocking for this, the blue GT3 car in front of me. Okay. So when the race starts again, it's not like he has to worry about me being any closer. There's still 2 cars in between me and him. On the flip side, though, right behind me are the 2 guys that are and have been chasing me that have now are close. There's no gap.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much.
So you're
all
really stuck in between a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, this yellow definitely did not do me any benefits whatsoever. And to take it one step further,
Am I crazy? Is it raining right now?
yeah. So yeah, 2 things. So to take it one step further, I have an underpowered car. So I would argue that in this series, I have an underpowered car. So once again, on starts, the odds of me getting a jump on someone versus someone getting a jump on me, the odds of someone getting a jump on me are a lot higher. And yes, now it's starting to rain, and I have not raced in the rain yet, and we're all on slicks. So it's starting to become a real crapshoot.
Oh my god! And how much time left do we have on this race? Oh, we're about
so the
like
race is 25 minutes. I think, just obviously doing this, I'm pretty sure that this ends at lap 10, like it just ends up being 10 minutes, or sorry, 10 laps. But it's getting dicey. So once again, I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm starting to think about this. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, we'll go through. So in my head, I'm starting to figure this out here. I'm like, we don't have much time left. I doubt I'm going to get a shot to make a jump here, but I'm going to give it a shot, obviously. But what's more important is I need to make sure to defend and not let the guys behind me get a jump on me, because, hey, look, finishing in second place, I can take that. But dropping down to 3rd or 4th with a couple laps left, that's unacceptable.
I mean, it's not unacceptable. It happens. But it's unacceptable
not
for
really.
us.
Like, you can't, man. It's too much. We put too much time and money and effort into this series and into racing to, like, let that type of stuff happen. Like, when you think about the things that you work for, there are moments that it's like, okay, all of the things you've put into it, all of the mental energy, all the physical energy, all the financial energy, like all of the people that have come out to watch you, other things that have been going behind the scenes, like dropping from 3rd to 4th or from 2nd to 4th, like, that's tough, man. That's a huge L. And that's actually one of the things I do love about racing, like, especially even in Formula One, like, it's not like you look at these things as this giant long-term picture and you win one game. Oh, yay, hurrah. Okay, we're on to the next. Like, if these guys, like, if you look at any other sport, you win a game, it's just a game or whatever. It's not like it's the championship or whatever. But in racing, every race is like, if you win that race, it doesn't matter what happened. Like when you look at Formula One and you get someone that never wins, but they won because first place, second place, third place got into a crash, so he got first. It's never a situation where it's like, oh yeah, like you won, but it's because this, or oh yeah, okay, the only reason you won is that. No, there is no fucks given. It is like, you won, you're the champion, you're on top of the world, congratulations. But the same thing goes the other way. So every race has so much weight, like it all matters so much. And especially that's outside of competing for the championship. But when you layer the points onto it, it's like, you know, it's a lot. But, you know, this is something that, like, this, you know how it is. Like, you know, you were there when we started doing this last year. You know, this is something that means a lot to me. And for me, I've said it from the get-go, like racing in these series is for me to get experience and for me to be able to kind of be like a proving and a testing ground for moving on and going into my next series and going into my next drive and wherever that might be. So this type of stuff, like, nah, I got to get better at it. If I have a car that I feel is a disadvantage, which, you know, at the end of the day, drivers are always going to say that, you know, you know, I got to get better at being in any car in any situation. So if I feel like I've got a car that is under horsepowered and we're under yellow and I got two cars that are different classes in front of me and I know that I'm going to have a bad chance on the start, I got to figure out how to make that work. You know, I got to try to, and I don't have an answer for it yet, but I'm going to keep getting better at it. So now I'm pretty sure this is going to end here. The yellow is going to end. It's starting to rain a bit. We're on slicks. Like, I don't know what to expect. And I've never raced in the rain. So this is going to get a little crazy.
This guy wants to pass so bad.
I don't even know if warming up your tires makes a difference at this point. I don't even know. I'm sure there's a good answer, but I was like, okay, I know that if under yellow, normally you would warm your tires back up because they're cooling down because you're not racing. But I didn't know if the rain made a difference. So I was just like, okay, you know, do it a couple times. Why not? I don't know if it's going to do anything, but.
You know, it's stuff like this where you start learning by experience, because if you never did this, like, maybe nobody would ever tell you, but that could actually be a legitimate big improvement and difference, right? Like, the guy in front of him hasn't done that at all, and maybe you just have even a few percentage difference.
Pace car just went off, so the race is about to start again. So now I know this, and already I'm shitting the bed. I should have gotten a lot closer to this guy, like just the whole thing. So once again, because I'm raining, I don't know how much I can go on. So race starts.
And have you done this track in the rain before?
I've done this track in the rain. I've never raced in the rain.
Oh, so this is like, you know.
Absolutely. So and on slicks is just like, it's just dangerous, you know. So anyway, I'm able to get by the truck here.
Perfect. We're past the truck.
Yeah. So that's good. So now it's just me. Now it's just me in the GT2 car. I need to somehow get by him. But now I've got this guy who's just taken second place.
Oh,
so now I'm like, holy shit. All right,
dude.
We got problems. Yeah. So not looking good.
And his blinkers on.
Yeah, the lights are always messed up in these race cars. I'm missing a light in my front right. It's always called our black eye. So anyway, I'm going in here. I'm trying to show my nose on the inside. And okay, we get past this truck. I'm trying to show nose on the inside. I don't know how much grip there is. We don't, like, it's starting to rain, but it didn't feel too bad. But once again, we've got slicks. So he's starting to get away from me a little bit. And really, it's a point where I'm like, I just kind of want to see how this guy's driving, to be honest. Like, there's a good chance that something could happen. It's starting to get wet. So let's just see how this goes.
How does the car feel like right now, the difference? Is it like a big difference? Or are you feeling kind of like the wetness, or are you just like in your head about it where you can't even really tell?
So at this point, I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Now, it's not like super crazy or anything, but it's definitely there. So here you go. So this guy's going on the inside. This is going to be a problem for me if this guy gets by the GT2 car. So now I'm like, great, not a good situation. Once again, now I've got this GT2 car in front of me. Luckily, though, I don't know if something happened to this car or what, but he pretty much just bows out. See you later. He
lets you buy it.
I don't know if he let me buy or if he had a car issue, but he definitely slowed up, or maybe he just didn't want to go at it in the rain. But either way, I was able to get by.
I think the rain kind of slowed him down a little bit there.
Maybe. So now I'm in a situation, we're racing here. Now it's first, second, and third. We got the 400 horsepower Volkswagen.
This is crazy.
And then we've got this BMW who actually has almost the same car I have. Now it's starting to get wet.
How are you taking these turns? I feel like you're doing pretty good here.
Not well. I could have done a lot better just because of the rain, but here we go. So now it's starting to go time, and here's the biggest thing. I see the last lap sign. So I'm like, holy shit, I got to make something happen. So I'm just like, okay, going into turn 1, I'm just like, fucking send it. Got a really, really good exit out of turn 1, which sets me up for the inside.
Oh my god, let's go, dude! This is fucking
so
crazy.
I'm able to pass him on the inside, and then now what ends up happening is Buddy shows right back up and takes the inside of me on 3.
Yo, you guys are actually racing right now. This is fucking crazy intense. Out of my way.
I'm able to get the inside going into 4, block him out. Now I know it's last lap. I'm going to show them on the inside here.
Fuck, dude.
And pretty much no chance to make a move on the inside. I'm not far enough, but I am able to make up a lot of time with him here. So once again, I got to start getting aggressive. It's the last lap. I don't have a choice. So I got to stay close to him. So coming down the straight here, I don't think I have the chance to get him on the inside, but I'm going to show inside so that way he's got to look in his mirrors. I go back to the line, but then I notice he brakes early and opens the door for me.
Oh, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, dude.
So I get him on the inside here, but he gets a better exit than me on the outside. So now we're going door to door. And this is pretty much going to be the last sequence of the race. I have this in the back of my head. I know it. So who's going to get better braking here? Boom. I'm lucky I get the advantage. I'm on the inside. I keep it together. And at this point, I think he washed out a little bit, actually. But almost lost the whole damn thing here and went into the grass. And I somehow saved it. Somehow I didn't go off. I looked to my right, and I thought for sure I was going to see the guys passing me on the inside. And I don't know if the same thing happened to them or what, but there was nobody there, and now I'm just like, all right.
What happened there, dude? That was scary. You're like, we made it past that situation. Don't fuck this up.
Pretty much, yeah. And now it's raining. Now it's super raining. I've got that Mustang still on me, and I'm like, I gotta keep my speed up, but do not fuck up. I cannot mess this up. So luckily, I'm able to carry it home, and that's it.
Dude, this is craziness. You must be shitting bricks right now. Like, don't fuck up. Don't fuck up.
Up until this last turn. This is a sketchy turn. Like, people spin in this turn all the time. It was literally the whole way.
Like, you're like, I just gotta keep going, and you fucking did it, bro. Oh my god.
That's it,
man.
Checkered flag. First official first place win in GT Pirelli regionals.
Holy shit. What a race.
I think you can hear me yelling in there.
Yeah, dude. Let's go, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Wow, man.
So yeah, man, that was it. That was a wild race. One I'm always gonna remember for sure. That was my first win, my first P1. And then to do it in the rain too, like it was a hell of a victory. It was good to bring that back.
I feel like the whole arc. Like, this is actually a really cool race to watch from your perspective because there's so much going on, and then that like last lap sequence is out of this world. It's absolutely.
It was everything, man. Honestly, it was great. Like, it's exactly what you just said. Like, to have had everything happen the way it happened, to be back at home, to be battling against guys that I drove with last year, to have been put in a situation with the yellow, to feel like I'm only able to defend, to seeing the last lap and being like, hey, I got to try to make a move, and then kind of trying to dig into my bag of tricks. Like, all of this stuff was just stuff I learned this year. Like, you know, the idea of covering the inside. Like, man, when I was doing my first race, I didn't know anything about that. I was just trying to survive. I was trying to run my good lines. So, like, covering the inside and sticking your nose. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe some of the things that I was doing put pressure on him and caused him to make a mistake, or who knows, right? Like, there was a lot of things that from what I learned in last year and then putting it together this year, and then to have it happen on the last lap is just like, it's the arc, man. It's exactly what it is. And I always feel like we talk about this all the time. Like, if you do the right things, just do the right things, and the things that you want to happen will happen, right? And I feel like this is just such a meaningful race for me because it just embodies all of that. Like, we said this shit last year. This is exactly how we said we wanted it to play out, and we just did all the things that we needed to do to make it happen. So I'm just super pumped, you know. And we did it. The joke on all this is that you go to the Pirelli GT sprints, and you see all these trailers, and guys got all these tools, and they got, full ass setups.
I
and
loved,
rigs
dude.
and all
I
this.
loved day 2 when someone came up to our thing and they were like, "Hey, man, you got this thing?" And you're like, "No, all we got is this like pile right here on the floor. It's like 2 wrenches."
Literally, that's it. We have like a borrowed impact gun, like a borrowed impact gun,
yeah.
a borrowed torque wrench, and a like fold out Canadian Tire tool set.
Yes.
And we had 2 tents that we borrowed from friends. So shout out Brandon for those because we needed those. And I have a jack. I got a jack last year. So we rolled up in a Jeep Wrangler with all that stuff. So we showed up just with a Jeep Wrangler, and the tents were in there, and that's it. And then we just pulled 2 first place wins this weekend. So yeah, it was definitely
casual. Just brush that shit
Yeah.
off, bro. On to the next one. Let's get
exactly, man. Now we're back on Mosport, and like got a shit ton of work to do because that track is difficult for me. Like I said, I've only been there for the first time this year. I'm starting to get more comfortable with it, but I definitely have issues on the back straight, so I got to get better. I got to make up more time in the corners. I got to get my times down. So that way when, we reach the back straight, I'm not having people make as much of a gap or having people close a gap as much on me. So that's what's next.
Do you have Mosport on your racing sim that you can practice on, or do you think that like actual real life track time is the best way to have practice on there?
Real life track time is the best way to have practice for sure. Like, a lot of people talk about the sim and I get it and I like it. But it's just not the same. Like it's,
can you make your car in the sim so that it is like identical to your actual car? Because I'd imagine that if you're racing in the sim and it doesn't have the same acceleration as your car or the same torque or, the same mechanics, I mean, the sim is never going to work out.
Yeah, there's that, but it's also for me, it's the feeling, right? Like you don't get the G's, like you don't when you're under braking, and braking's to me, it's the most important thing in racing, right? Like you need to feel when you want to shift the weight of the car. You need to feel when you can start easing up on the brake. When
you need one of those sims that has you like levitated and starts like
those are
thrashing
sweet.
You around. Yeah, dude. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
So that's that at Calabogie. So that's pretty much it. We closed the chapter on that, which once again, like just such a full circle thing.
And let's get it.
Let's get it, man.
Dude, awesome. I'm going to end the recording here. That was fucking phenomenal.